This channel is for educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence before making any investment decisions. Hi, this is Joe Rabil. So I'm going to do a video on multiple time frame trading, and I'm going to use an example of an intraday trade, but I show the multiple time frame setup that I use for longer term trades as well. I think this will be really helpful in your understanding of how I kind of put things all together. Now, I touch on RSI. I'm going to do something a little bit more meaningful next week, or more significant next week on RSI, and show how I use that to complement the ADX. But I do mention it, and I think it'll help you to understand at least somewhat how I can use that as an additional tool. Before I get going, though, I want to make mention that there is another YouTube channel that's been impersonating me, and I cannot get YouTube to get rid of it. So if anyone has any ideas on if they have any experience with this or anything like that, and they know how an approach of how to get rid of this guy, it concerns me that people might be clicking on that channel and also going to his email, or I don't know what kind of scam he's running. But I don't like my name being used in the way that it's being used. My picture on the thumbnail, my videos, my old videos are being reposted. Really disturbing. And so anyway, if anyone has any ideas, I would truly appreciate it. If you do want to learn more about some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today with the multiple time frame trading using MACD and ADX, I would go to my website. It's called rabilstockresearch.com, and then you can go to the book tab and start there. If I do not have a Gmail account, all right, so the person's overlaying a Gmail email over my my rabilstockresearch.com stuff. So if you see that, you know that it's the scam channel. All right, just want to make mention of that. All right, so I have my stock grid of ROKU up, ROKU. However, it's a little bit different. Now, typically I have a monthly down here, weekly, daily, and then another weekly here. All right, but for intraday setup, I've got an hourly chart here. All right, and then I've got a 10-minute here, 2-minute here, and then I've got another 10-minute here. These two are always the same. So this is the kind of setup. Now, the reason why is typically if I've got this setup in place, my thinking is that this is my main time frame. All right. So if I'm looking to play, weekly dailies, all right, this would likely be the setup would likely be monthly, weekly, daily, and then weekly here. All right. If I'm looking to play monthly, weekly, I would still have this same setup. It's just I would alter my thinking a little bit, and I'd be watching this time frame and using this more as a trigger time frame as opposed to a setup time frame. But this is an ideal way to have things set up. I think for intraday trading, I like to have. The reason is that we can use these RSIs in addition to the ADX and the MACD. And then we also have the relative strength. Now, I'm going to show you how everything kind of comes together here at one specific point on this intraday trade. And I think it can help you, I think, understanding how we want to use the bigger time frames as well. But where you can have an advantage looking at intradays is the daily bar. So I've got the daily bar here and the weekly bar here with just the volume. All right, and it does show the moving averages, but we want to know where the open is each day. All right, we want to know like where the 4 is, where are we in relation to the 4. We want to know where we are relative to the prior day's high and low. Okay, and then we also want to see that on the weekly just so we know where any key resistance levels are. Are we coming into a key moving average? Are we coming into the prior week's high? Are we looking at the weekly open? Are we below that or whatever? So you want to, I like having these up even if I'm trading intraday. It's good to have, especially the daily bar. And I like to zoom it in like this. All right, so first of all, if you see the way this was playing out, so let me just point this out. So this is where we opened Friday, all right? which is essentially here, we make this move up and then we pull back. All right, and then we make another move and we're holding, now we're starting to hold the 18 on the 10-minute, and the MACD is holding as well. Now, we don't have DI kicking in yet, but look at what happened here. On the way up, we showed really nice strength, and then we had a pretty strong decline into the close that did cause selling pressure, but it wasn't as strong as the buyers were. You see how the buyers are still in command. If you don't understand this, I go into this in detail. You need to understand the difference between the buy side and the sell side. So the buy side is based on the DI line. If the green DI is on top, then we know that's the buyers. If the red is on top, we know it's the sellers. And in this case, the buyers are still in command because based on their last peaks, the green was higher on the way up, meaning that the buyers were stronger on the way up than the sellers were on the way down. Now we start to hold this area. Now you could argue, and you start to look at the way this is holding. So what I do on this time frame, I put the higher time frames 18 up, and you can see how we were holding, starting to hold this 18 on the hourly. So this is the hourly 18 underneath. See how we were respecting it, pretty much respected it. So we want to know that that's in place. But if you notice at that point, we hadn't shown any real relative strength performance, and then we kicked in a DI, RSI buy signal here, and then it kind of came up. Now, the reason why I like this area, I want to show you why this was so important. You see how we kind of broke through this key level here? Well, there's something else that happened. We crossed back above the open. This was the open right there, and it was the prior day high. So we were getting through the prior day high. We were getting through the open. At that point, I think it's really game on. If I'm watching this, notice how the relative strength broke out. So I've got a number of things starting to work in my favor. I got the relative strength kicking in. That's relative to the S&P. So this wasn't moving up just because of the market, right? I know I just got my RSI buy signal. I know I just took out the high, the prior day's high. I know I took out the open, and then I came back to test both of those levels. I got this nice cupping pattern developing, forming a pinch, and we haven't really gotten much upside from that yet. All right, and then look at the way this played out. We got the breakout, and we got the nice orderly pullback. Do you see how this had the breakout and then had a violent pullback and then the big red bar? You see how these are not the kind of pullbacks they're not as attractive. I'm not saying you don't do them. I'm just saying, even though we had a pinch here, this big red bar, I probably, especially based on the fact that it was below the prior day's high and below the open, I think I'm waiting for a more orderly setup, this pullback. Nice setup here with a pinch. Look at how green DI started to get going again. Now, we had strength here, but we still showed strength here, meaning we got, even though it wasn't as strong as the buy side, it was above 25. So at this point in time, let me just make sure, at this point in time, we need the green to kind of kick into gear again, because this was pretty strong, showing that the red, even though it hadn't taken over the green, it was in command for now. So I really like this for multiple reasons. I've obviously what I'm talking about on the daily chart, the prior day high, getting back through the open, taking out this little resistance area, the orderly pullback, the pinch play, but we also have green DI telling us, okay, it's game on again. All right, now I do want to go back here and just show you how this played out, and we're going to zoom in on this. On the 2-minute chart, you had an ABC down. I just want to point this out. Now, if you drew in your trend line like this and you were looking at this trade, I don't really like this because this trend line is not, you see how they're not parallel? It's not even close. So I know that this is too steep. Now, it ended up working out, but I'm just telling you, use trend lines like this where this line is like that and this is down like that, you're going to have a lot of false signals. All right, so just be careful on that from that standpoint. So I would kind of ignore that, but then if you notice, we get a move up and then we get what looked like it was going to be a pinch, but it overran the zero line. The good news is green DI started to get going here. So if you played this because of what was taking place in green DI and the minimal overrun here, I don't have a problem with that. But if you notice what happened next, look at this setup. I mean, nice and orderly, 3-bar pullback. You get a nice pinch setup, pure pinch, green DI holding again, right? And then you play that and you use 2 times your ATR. It would have given you plenty of room on this trade to go hit numerous targets. I think you could have hit 4 targets on this if you played it this way. So, you know, and you can handle these targets however you want. Some people just like to get 2 and go, all right? You would have been in it probably half hour or something like that, and you would have hit the target and you'd have been gone. So if you play for 2 to 1, that's great. I don't have a problem doing that. You can also play for 1 to 1 for half and 3 to 1 for the other half if you want, right? So you can do it that way so you get a little quicker profit and then see if you can't get that next target for a bigger win. You're still going to end up in the same boat as you would have with the 2 to 1, all right? But the difference is that if you get that 1 to 1 off, you can raise your stop, and then you're basically at a break even, and you're seeing if you can get a decent win out of it. All right, so those are some different alternatives. There's also nothing wrong with just starting to take pieces off as it moves up and keep the trailer going until you get stopped out. All these are different ideas for you, but certainly worth understanding how we can use all of this together. We want to look at the price structure. The fact that it got back up through the prior day's high and the open was really important. But notice the relative strength. Now, if you start looking at these stocks like monthly, weekly, daily, with a weekly over here, watching the relative strength like this, watching the RSIs, you're going to start to pinpoint where the key levels are. No, you don't have the prior day open or anything like that, but you can look at the monthly and you can see where you are in relation to the monthly open and the prior month's high, and it all should come together for you that way. Hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.